Welcome to Sage, New Era Religion, Episode 135, SECCC 59, February 28, 2022, describing my YouTube channel to you. Relevant links will be provided. You can read the entire transcript on Synergetics Religion Experiential Experimental Education Complex, SECCC, on my website, sagesynergeticage.com. We have entered a new cosmic era. It is referential to nature's coordinate system that our Buckminster Fuller discovered in the 20th century. The grand nexus strategy of this eternal integrity is conceptual, independent of size. My writing, with synergetics models in my metaphysical generalized conceptioning field of thought, alerted my awareness and reasoning faculty to this evolutionary event. The cosmic events of universe apparently are designed in generalized principle by UEOM, Universe, Eternal Omniscient Mind. UEOM articulates accurate sound words, replacing the sound word God in any spoken or written language everywhere on Earth. We are in the exiting throes of the culminating game, with its ramifying consequences that were initiated thousands of years ago at the outset of the womb of permitted ignorance. Our evolution species, humans of a mind, are now entering the ever-expanding womb of total human consciousness. Womb, by the way, is synonymous with matrix, from Latin, mater, mother. It is unlike the typical strategies resorted to as actors on the world stage grapple and battle with surviving the seemingly endless, disputatious disparities of the inherited detriments. Analogically, those strategies are playing out without obvious detection, as a card game would be, that displays a hierarchy of monarchs, the kings, queens, etc. Or it could be similar to the chess set's hierarchical power plays, also using the king, the queen, in a complex game that move the chess pieces across the flat surface game board from one side to the other side to defeat the targeted game piece. It is with imaginable calculated results, as the mastermind conceptualizes many anticipatory combinations that are not visible as a thought process, but are permissible to be played. Board games and card games don't usually result in severe, lethal consequences unless the tactics are applied to real lifetime disputes. The Synergetics cosmic era requires geometric, topological awareness of generalized models and metaphysical intellect as a function of universe to generalized concepts. This means that a conceptual faculty takes the generalized content of disseminated information to one's own metaphysical generalized conceptioning field of systemic thought, referential to the synergetics information, its metaphysical, conceptuality, and physical realizations. My YouTube channel is one way to further explore the geometry of thinking. These homemade videos inform the world's tuned-in observers of my ongoing research project as an attempt at comprehending these geometries, topology, geodesics. My YouTube channel is one way to further explore Synergetics, explorations in the geometry of thinking. The content, in words, explains what I am learning in this ongoing research project and what I have discovered along the way. It is my attempt at applying comprehension of the geometries, topology, and geodesics from Buckminster Fuller's 20th century discovery of nature's coordinate system against a background of video images from royalty-free downloads. I purchased the video clips from a commercial enterprise where there are approximately no images of the geodesics and vectorial geometry of Bucky Fuller's illustrations shown in the Synergetics figure index. So the viewer will not usually see any correlation to the geometry I am referring to in my audio podcasts, my audio-visual YouTube channel productions. This field of study is relatively new on the world stage and new to me. I have been writing with Synergetics in mind for decades and continue contributing the conceptualization experience to the universal communications process. I do so without any credentials from any university. The project has gone through many learning curves, involving reading, writing, referring, recording, self-publishing to my various domain names and online websites, keeping my word to write for peace, which is how it initiated in the early 1980s. Most recently, the project evolved from Sage, a New World religion, to Sage, New Era religion. The transition is still underway. As a novitiate in this field of study without anyone's permission or required credentials, my conceptualization experience is simply and naturally to observe the reenacting articulations, reacting to those human events, to write and type while composing my developing thoughts. It involves what I discern from watching YouTube podcast interviews, documentaries, news events, published books, dictionaries, thesauruses, and much that attracts my attention. This enables me to correlate aspects of the information experience to what may be generalized and eventually resolved, referentially, to the generalized principles found in Synergetics. Those inspirations induce my interpretation of the observed events to explain my evolution experience as a way to visualize the primarily interpretive objectives. The interpretive objectives actually require imagination's ability to formulate conceptually as consciously competent knowledge articulations. Those articulations may well be integrals of the transceivered, intuitively inspired, tuned-in message units as words that imaginably are from the cosmic stream. Perhaps it is metaphysical intellect tapping into the eternally conserved energy packaged word concepts. The experience induces intellect to look into the dictionary to validate what its mind intuits, to fit into the developing thesis, but truly does not feel confident that the word will fit. Or it could be the brain's cerebral circuits tuning into memory-stored words from hundreds and thousands of environmentally heard and read that were simply absorbed as potentially recallable data without detailed validation and verification of the many uses of any word. Many different dictionaries contain words from various cultures over millenniums, and so the deciphering process could get very complicated. And yet, as intellect generalizes the concepts, wanting and needing to clarify the most economic way of behaving relative to unity and self in universe, albeit unity itself is somewhat understood as a compatible orientation in relationships, more can be learned about how to conceptualize unity referentially to the most economical way the system behaves. It is correlative to systemic thought's anticipatory design science realities, one of which is manifesting a true democracy. It may be possible to consider vector equilibrium as initial unity unique to any universal focus. The unique focus, of course, can be accredited to the individual, and so can the inherently inviolable integrity of the individual be recognized integrally to the metaphysical generalized conceptioning field of systemic thought. As we can read in Synergetics 445.0405, the vector equilibrium's 20 in respect to tetrahedron unity of 1 is not too difficult to conceptualize. That the consideration constitutes the total volumetric domain unique to any universal focus or point clearly suggests the observer's articulations when intending to get a point of view across to the other observers, who can refer imagination's ability to formulate conceptually to the cosmically inviolate environment domains generalized conceptioning. It helps to know that domains are systems, not structures, and that the vector equilibrium is a system, not a structure in its own right, in any event. My self-evaluation of the universal communications process deems it essential to accredit Bucky Fuller's genius discoveries, all of which is listed in Synergetics online. Initially, this phase of the decades-long process evolved from concerns about the contradictory world's major religions, the R factor, among other factors, of the predominating belief complexes, the P for politics, the J for justice, and the W for war, PRJWBCS. The acronym stands for politics, religion, justice, war, belief complex schemes, which, from my perspective, do not seem to have emanated from any cosmic integrity, primarily because the self-regenerating generalized principles as eternal laws would not contradict the most economical way of behaving or discredit geodesics. Geodesic means most economical relationship. So, as the world is obsessed with relationships, to every degree of personality interactions between self and the other, any number of others, all of the interrelationships can be generalized to geodesics. Geodesics and irrelevance is one of the always and only coexisting complementarities. Therefore, irrelevance cannot possibly be what the anticipatory design science interrelating integrity reveals in the cosmically inviolate environment domain's generalized conceptioning, simply because irrelevance takes a considerable amount of energy, time, and space at a great cost to humans on Earth, compared to the minimum thinkable sets, topological and geometrical basic unit of measure. Such mensuration is correlative to exploring the universe's eternally conserved energetic synergetic patterning integrities. The conservation would not be opposed to learning more about the most economical way of behaving relative to unity in self and universe. My accumulated knowledge, albeit limited, is what I continue to convey in these videos. It is an ongoing pursuit of knowledge with hopes of manifesting a true democracy as a result of reading, writing, and referring my anticipatory thoughts to Synergetics. Admittedly, I barely understand all that is going on concerning the most economical way systems behave relative to unity in self in synergetic universe and the way humans behave in the world. Thank you.